So it's a beautiful thing, man. And she really did change my heart, changed me as
Right.
a person. I've been clean for since November 20 or 2009. I've been
Right.
clean.
Yeah.
But I don't, when I say my prayers every day, for the most part, I'm grateful for my addiction because it helped me get to the depths, to the lowest of the lows, and
Mhm.
it helped me, figure out who I am as a person.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with round two of our talk with Daniel Blue, the founder of Quest Education. Today we're going to shift focus a little bit and we're going to find out how Daniel found himself in the depths of addiction and how he raised himself to running a seven-figure business. Here
You got to ask
we
yourself that
go.
question. Like, do you think taxes are going to go up? And if you do, it might be an idea worth looking into paying taxes now, locking at the tax bracket now.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I love that you're talking about these things because it really does affect people today and what they look at, 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. I mean, things that happen now affect us, then. And I love that you brought up, Ronald Reagan, the tax rates, because yeah, I mean, as the government increases tax rates, historically, the revenue doesn't increase with it from the government. So now you have to make up that money somewhere else. And like you alluded to, Daniel, let's just print more money. It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. So I know you mentioned you didn't go to Yale. In fact, you had a lot different life growing up. Um, had a daughter, 18, 19 years old or something like that, and then found yourself in a lot more, I guess, less comfy than would be a Yale dorm room. Could you tell us about how you have really overcome so much to now leading this business? And you're talking very smartly about finances when probably you shouldn't be because of the past history that you've lived.
Yeah, I just really have lived trial by error.
Mhm.
And there's a really great quote in the book that I'm reading, the Will Smith book. I was reading it last night, so it's just fresh in my mind. He's like, I heard one day that people said that life is like school. But the only difference is when you go to school, you get the lesson first, and then you take the test. But in life, you take the test first,
Yep.
and then it's up to you to figure out the lesson.
Yeah.
And that quote hit home for me, Justin, because, I made a lot of mistakes. I made like 90 grand when I was 18 years old. I got into sales, never made that kind of money before. My parents weren't rich. And I didn't know how to handle that money. And then
Mhm.
the next year I made 100,000 and, did pretty well for myself. But I was a knucklehead. And, I ended up owing money to the IRS. Ended up screwing up my credit when I was younger. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I ended up having a child at a young age. At 18 years old, there's a few things that happened to me that definitely changed my perspective and who I am as a person. I dropped out of college at 18. I got a woman pregnant at 18. And then I got addicted to Oxycontin. Oxycontin was my way of masking my childhood, some things I
Right.
went through as a kid. And I had some demons that I was fighting. And I feel like God was just like, hey man, like here's your chance, bro. Like here's your chance to get right in life. And I don't know how many more chances I'm gonna give you, but this is your one shot. He gave me a daughter. And I truly believe that my daughter was given to me to and if anyone is a husband, is a boyfriend, and is a man, period, and they have a daughter like that's over 8 years old, like you know what I'm talking about. My daughter's 13 right now. So it's a beautiful thing, man, and she really did change my heart and change me as
Right.
a person. I've been clean for since November 20 or 2009. I've been
Right.
clean.
Yeah.
But I don't, when I say my prayers every day, for the most part, I'm grateful for my addiction because it helped me get to the depths, to the lowest of the lows, and
Mhm.
it helped me, figure out who I am as a person. And then I'm really grateful, obviously, for having a healthy baby and being able to be a father at a young age to just learn a bunch of crap at a young age. So that's been kind of part of my imposter syndrome, like my doubts and being a business owner. It's like, man, like, I'm 33, this year, and I own a financial company, and I didn't take the path that a lot of business owners take that are in the financial space. Like you go on LinkedIn and,
Yeah.
they went to freaking, Harvard or Yale or USC, and they got a degree in economics and they got this and this. And, that's not me. But as long as you can actually solve a problem for somebody
Mhm.
and deliver on your fulfillment and deliver on your service, that's what it's about. It's the beautiful part about living in America, right? Like it makes this country so beautiful. We get the ability to take part in capitalism and start businesses, and the market doesn't really care if you're in college or not, or if you're an ex drug addict. The market cares can you solve a problem, and
Can you
can you
perform?
provide solutions for people? Well, you do a pretty decent job of that.
That's awesome. No, I mean, and I think, like I said, maybe not so much you're thankful for it, but, going through the process. But when you come out on the other side, you're like, wow, that I learned a lot. Like I said, you take the test and you figure out if you're going to actually learn the lesson or not. And so, while you're going through that, and now you've obviously made a huge transition, and congrats on just really turning your entire life around. Um, I mean, what helped you develop? I mean, what gave you that will to really not just survive but thrive? And what was the key to growing that mindset that you needed to do that?
So my dad wasn't in my life when I turned 12. He moved to Mexico, and that was part of my trauma and my demons were like my dad and I were really close, and my parents got divorced, and he moved to Mexico and never came back. I didn't talk to him.
Mm.
That broke my heart, and I definitely made it a vow to. I was like, man, I don't want to do that to my kids. Like, I'm thinking at the time, like, I don't have a daughter. I don't have kids at the time. Like, when I have kids, like, I don't want to be an absent dad. Like, I'm not going to do this to, my wife. I'm not going to do this to my kid. Like, this ain't happening. So that's always been a driving factor. And then, my mom is raising me on her own in Southern California. It's pretty expensive, so we struggled. But thinking, man, I don't want to struggle financially. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I don't want to struggle financially. But I didn't have like these huge ambitions as a kid in the sense of like, man, I don't have this Gary Vee story where like I was an entrepreneur out the womb and like started businesses in middle school and
Selling
high
baseball cards
school.
at
And
5, yeah.
yeah, man, like that wasn't me. Like I never thought I was going to be a business owner until probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of new to the game in that respect, but I just knew the things I didn't want, and the things I didn't want drove me to keep going. I didn't know what I wanted. I wasn't very clear on that, but I knew so bad what I didn't want that it pushed me to keep going.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, just to tip your hat again, to tip my hat to you again. I mean, I got three little boys running around like elephants right now upstairs, and I tell you what, like I am not man enough to be a dad of a daughter. It's just so hat tip there. But I mean, I think there's so much about family and so much about being a father or a mom or husband, whatever. I think so much that relates back to business. I mean, it sounds like you were really raised, and this mean when personally you grew and you kind of rose to really become a leader, to become the entrepreneur. So I mean, it's the age old question. I mean, leaders, are they born, or are they developed? I mean, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I truly believe that we all have something special in us when we're born, and it's up to our environment to really shape us, right? And it's up to me, it's the two E's. It's the environment and the experiences that we face, that we deal with, that's going to shape us as a human being. I think you can take anyone and throw them in a different environment and give them different experiences, and they're going to come out different, right? Like they might have certain tendencies and lean a certain way because like maybe certain genes got passed on from their mom, or like I'm not a biologist or scientist, so I might have even used a wrong term, right? But like I do think there's some things we inherit from our parents or family members, right? But to me, what's even way more carries way more weight is the experiences and the environment that we're in. In which, well, and I'm always going to answer that question in the sense of like, man, they're created, right? They're, you bake the cake, right? Like that cake's going to come out a lot of different ways depending on how you bake it, what ingredients you put it in. So to me, it comes down to just those experiences and environment that we're put in.
Yeah, I've always kind of pushed back against the leaders are born type thing, just because, like you said, I mean, people are born certain ways. Some people are born left-handed, some people are born taller, whatever the case may be. But I really do feel, and I agree with you, that is you learn, and I love you put that it's your experience and your environment. What are you constantly fed every day? Not just food, but spiritually, but emotionally, but physically, all those different things. Then how do you learn? Like I said, you went through a lot that you could have easily just punted life as a whole, but you learned from your experiences. And kind of bring this back, I guess, to the business side. Um, you know, Financially, I mean, when I'm looking at P&L statements, whatever case may be, if I run my own business, I mean, when I talk about taking care of workforce now with employees and everything, do you feel like businesses aren't really providing enough, call it financial literacy, for their workforce? Is it because they don't know themselves, or just because they don't want to do it? I mean, when you deal with clients and businesses, I mean, what do you feel like is really holding them back from those type?
Yeah, I just think it comes down to a priority.
Mhm.
Like, as whoever is making the decisions within your business, what are their priorities, right? And if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. I think one thing that we've seen right now with the current climate, with COVID and the Great Resignation, is like the priority has been, okay, culture. You know, like how can we have a better culture? How can we, you know, make the whole work from home thing work, hybrid thing work? Increasing PTO, mental health, making sure the employees are in a good spot. Like all that stuff is kind of a priority right now, right? So I think it just comes down to, is it a priority, right? Like for us, right? Like we offer 401ks to our employees. That's a priority because I would feel like a knucklehead if I'm over here helping people set up solo 401ks and we can't even offer a 401k plan for our employees, right? Like that's a priority for us. I think it just comes down to like, what is your priority? What are your priorities? However, the more priorities you have, then the less bandwidth you have, right? If you're focused on everything, you're focused on nothing. Everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority, right? So there is some of that give and take.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about your employees. Your business, Quest Education. Walk us through some of the things that you do. I mean, like I said, you talked about setting up 401ks and everything like that. I mean, what are some of the additional services that Quest actually provides for your clients?
So once we help them access their retirement accounts penalty and tax free, and they use that money to maybe fund their business or pay off high interest rate credit card debt, we want to come from a place of service, servicing them from a customer service experience, because there's so many companies like ours, right? Like, so how do we differentiate ourselves? One is really providing that white glove customer service, where if one of the customers calls or needs help, they can call and get a live voice that's here in the United States.
Right.
You know how annoying it is to call the bank and be on hold for 15 minutes and then the call gets disconnected.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I'm talking to someone and I hear a bunch of background noise and like it just doesn't sound like a professional setting. Like
Right.
that thing sucks. How many times I try to get help and like I'm resorted to having to like do like a question on the little chat on their website. It's like,
The
dude,
worst.
like we want intimate conversations with people, right? Like it's really convenient picking up the phone and talking to a live human being. When I called the bank, I'm just trying to press zero, like live representative, right? I hate when I'm calling somebody and it's making me like it's like the robots talking to me like, for help in
Oh my
check
God.
press one, for bill play plus two. I'm just like, representative you know what I mean? Like it's just so much time wasting, right? So try to create this environment where our customers can just call us, they can text us. If they want email, cool. Like whatever their communication is, like we want to get back to them as quickly as possible and we want to be there for them as much as we can. If it's a phone call, cool, we're there.
Yeah.
Um, Providing that is really important to us. And then, maybe they need help in some different areas in their financial life. We're not CPAs, we're not financial advisors. However, maybe they need help with their taxes. Well, we can send them over to, a referral partner of ours that can help them with, some CPA services, tax services. Maybe they want to make an investment in crypto. We don't sell Bitcoin, we don't sell Ethereum, but we can refer them to one of our third parties that can help them with crypto. So we've got some different investment third parties we can send them to, tax services, maybe estate planning. Maybe they need help with a line of credit or an SBA loan. Again, we don't do that, but if we can kind of be like their quarterback in whatever play call they want to run, we're there to help facilitate it.
Yeah. No, and again, I think one thing that you really point out there is, how do you differentiate yourself? And when I think of most, call it financial advisors, or most people who are going to help me with my retirement, I think of somebody who's going to make sure that I buy their preferred, 401k plans and their investment plans. You're not doing that, since all you're doing is allowing them to get access to their to the money that they already have, and then how to educate them on how to use it properly. And so I think that's a huge difference here, because not many people really, I think I think most people don't know about it, but also I don't think they want to do that because where's the money at? I'd rather sell you and get a commission on, this retirement plan that my company sells versus teach you how to take it out and go use the money somewhere else. Um, so I guess, you also mentioned there too, again, kind of being that quarterback. And I love that analogy as far as really kind of being that kind of that field journal, trying to help them dictate what's the pace of the game, where are you going to throw the ball. I mean, you work with a lot of financial people. Um, and where do you find that most people really kind of lean towards as far as that advice, whether it's their CPA, whether it's their current 401k provider, their family, their environment where they got it from? Where people do you think are getting the most education from, and why is that good or bad?
Facebook comments, family members at their Thanksgiving table.
Mm,
Yeah, man, it's we see like who we want to serve are people that are 40 and 50 years above, because they have an existing retirement account. We want to not waste people's time and give value, right? So where we can give the most value is someone that comes from corporate, maybe has a 401k from an old job, maybe has an IRA, and maybe they're not too happy with the account, and or they like the idea of accessing that money penalty and tax free.
yeah.
And that person is probably really busy with their day-to-day life, right? Like they have a few kids, they have maybe a 9 to 5 job, or they're running their business full time, or they got a 9 to 5 plus they're running this side hustle. Like they're just really busy. And the whole idea of them learning about, okay, well, this is a Roth, and this is a traditional, and this is a self-directed solo 401k, and this is a mutual fund, right? Like the idea of them going down that rabbit hole, they're just like, dude, like out of sight, out of mind. Like I get my statements from my retirement account once a couple times a year. I look at my statement. How much did it go up? Did it go down? Okay, next. Let me get
Yeah.
on with my next day activity, right? So like they're not too involved because they're just so dang busy, right?
Yeah.
So if we can come in and just give them a few nuggets and teach them some of the basics, and then be there to support them, it goes a long way. And the whole goal is to, again, help them solve some kind of problem. Typically the problem is they need funding for their business, or they've got high interest rate credit card debt that they're trying to tackle.
That's awesome. Since we all know that time is money, I want to be respectful of your time, Daniel. So just two last questions. What's that one nugget? What's that one question that I just did not ask you today that you really want our audience to know? I mean, what would be that one, two things that you really want to make sure that they walk away with today?
And if you have high interest rate credit card debt, like that's a ticking time bomb. Like
Mm,
you need to figure out a way to pay that off as soon as possible. And when I say high interest, anything that's more than double digits, that's just a lot of money to be throwing away to the bank, right? So if you've got 13, 15, 20% interest rates on personal loans, credit card debt, you got to figure out a way to get that taken care of, right? Because it's bleeding. It's costing you money. So I think a lot of people, are always thinking about, oh man, like I want to invest in crypto, or I want to invest in, the next Facebook. And like that's cool. Take care of your foundation first. Like take care of your home front. And the foundation is some of the basics, like how are you managing your debt?
yeah. I think that's huge. I think if you don't take care of the foundation, like you said, and then try to invest in all these things, you're going to quickly find yourself in trouble if those things don't work out. So I guess last question for you, Daniel. I want to learn more about accessing my retirement funds. I want to be able to invest into my business. I want to be able to invest in these other things like retirement homes and whatever else. But I don't know where to start. So how do I get in touch with you, Daniel? Where can I learn more and have a conversation with you?
Yeah, best place would be danielblue.me. That's danielblue.me. You can pick up a copy of my best-selling book there called Blueprint to Your Best Retirement. Gives you access to my podcast. Got a podcast called How Winners Win. The mission behind that podcast is to help people win in their personal life, their financial life, their business life. So have a lot of fun there. We're on Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of fun stuff. So again, it's called How Winners Win. So you can get linked to the content there. And then I have a course, a bunch of free content, the social media handles on my website. And then if you're, thinking, oh shoot, I did not know I could access my IRA or my my 401k penalty and tax free. Like, I want to learn more. There's just some basic information that you can fill out there on the website, and then we can see if it's something that's feasible.
That's awesome. Well, Daniel, thank you again so much for your time today, because I know that retirement planning, that understanding finances, to be able to invest in your business, whatever that may look like for you and as an individual, definitely ain't easy, but it's worth it. Daniel, thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you again so much.
Hey, Dustin, thank you for having me. It's a good time.
Awesome. Pleasure, bud.